This is the story of John. John is a man who had nothing. He lived on the streets. He was homeless. But today, John is a successful businessman. His face is on TV screens everywhere. People around the world are talking about him. John's story is amazing. It is about struggle, hope, and success. How did he do it? How did a homeless man change his life so completely? Stay with me as I tell you this inspiring story. A few years ago, John's life was very different. He had no home, no money, and no family to help him. John spent his days walking around the city. He looked for food in garbage bins. Sometimes, kind strangers gave him something to eat. Other times, he went hungry. At night, John slept wherever he could. Sometimes he found a spot on a park bench. Other times, he slept on the cold, hard ground. He often shivered in the cold. People walked past John every day. Some looked at him with pity, while others ignored him completely. John felt invisible. He wondered, does anyone care about me? Will my life ever change? Even though life was hard, John didn't give up. He thought about his dreams. He said to himself, one day, I will have a job. One day, I will have a home. I just need a chance. One day, John's life began to change. He was sitting on the sidewalk, tired and hungry. A man named David walked by. David saw John and stopped. He asked, "What is your name?" John looked up, surprised. Most people didn't talk to him. He said, "My name is John." David smiled kindly and said, "John, you are always here. I see you every day. What do you need the most?" John thought for a moment. Then he said, "I need a chance. I want to work. I want to change my life." David listened carefully. He nodded and said, "Come with me. Let's see what we can do." David took John to a homeless shelter. It was a place where people without homes could get food, a bed, and support. At the shelter, John had his first warm meal in days. He had a clean bed to sleep in. For the first time in a long time, he felt safe. The shelter staff talked to John. They wanted to help him find a job. They helped him clean up and gave him nice clothes to wear for job interviews. John felt hopeful. He said to himself, "This is my chance. I will not waste it." John started applying for jobs. He went to many interviews, but no one hired him at first. Some employers said, "You don't have experience." Others said, "We can't take a chance on you." It was hard to hear no again and again. But John didn't give up. He kept trying. He believed that someone would give him a chance. Finally, after weeks of trying, John got a job. It was at a small cafe. His job was to clean tables and wash dishes. John was so happy. He said, "This is the first step to a new life." At the cafe, John worked very hard. He arrived early every day. He cleaned the tables until they shone. He made sure every dish was spotless. John's boss noticed his hard work. She said, "John, you are doing a great job. I want to teach you more." She taught John how to make coffee and serve customers. John was a quick learner. He became very good at his job. Soon, customers started asking for John. They said, "He is so kind and helpful." John began to feel confident. He thought, "If I can do this, I can do more." While working at the cafe, John had a big dream. He wanted to start his own business. John thought about all the people who were still homeless. He thought, "I want to help them. I want to give them jobs and hope, just like David helped me." John started saving money. He worked extra hours. He planned carefully. After a year, he was ready. John bought a small food truck. He decided to sell coffee and sandwiches. John's food truck became popular. People loved his story. They said, "He is helping others, just like someone helped him." John hired people who were homeless. He gave them jobs and taught them skills. He told them, "If I can do it, so can you." The food truck grew. Soon, John bought a second food truck. Then a third. John became a successful businessman. But he never forgot where he came from. John's story spread across the country. Newspapers wrote about him. TV stations interviewed him. People on social media said, "John is an inspiration." His face was everywhere. But John stayed humble. He said, "I don't want fame. I just want to help people. That is what makes me happy." Even though John is now a successful businessman, he still visits homeless shelters. He talks to the people there and says, "Don't give up. Your life can change, just like mine did." He also gives part of his earnings to charities that help the homeless. John often says, "Everyone deserves a second chance." I am proof that it's never too late to change your life. John's story is one of hope and perseverance. He went from living on the streets to owning a successful business. He is an example of what can happen when you don't give up, when someone believes in you, and when you believe in yourself. Vocabulary words. 1. Struggle. To work hard when things are very difficult. Example. John struggled to find food and a place to sleep. 2. Shelter. A safe place for homeless people to stay. Example. John went to a shelter to get help. 3. Inspiration. A person or story that makes others feel hopeful or want to do better. Example. John's story is an inspiration to many people. Discussion questions. 1. Who helped John take the first step to change his life? 2. How do you think John felt when David helped him? 3. What can we learn from John's story about helping others? Thank you for listening to John's story. What do you think about his journey? Remember, no matter how hard life is, you can always take the first step. Don't give up on your dreams. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video. Stay inspired and keep believing in yourself.